Howdy! Just transplanting a mature eggplant this afternoon, so I thought I'd just bring you along and show you what we've done. Decided to move the wicking bed on the end there out the front, and I've planted 4 asparagus crowns in it. And this is the next bed that needs to be moved. Now, unfortunately, this bed is still very prolific, with loads of fruit on it. I think there's a baby under here somewhere. Whoops, not so baby. Some more down the front there as well, a couple there. So what I'm going to do is harvest all the fruit from this guy and trim him right back. Where he'll be going, he'll just be transplanted, and I'll just be keeping some of the new growth stems like this one here. He'll be transplanted into a wicking barrel I've reclaimed over here. This little wicking barrel here was one of the old style ones. It just had a filler pipe and a little bit of 100mm or 4-inch slotted egg pipe that went down through there. So what I'm going to do is I've dug out the old asparagus that was in here, and it was a ball of fun. The bottom layer of sand in the reservoir actually had roots going all the way through it. It had totally taken up the reservoir with roots, so I've decided just to do away with that plant entirely. I've got a whole heap of seedlings that Tammy gave me that I'm going to plant out in that IBC once it goes out the front. So what I've done is I've reworked it and turned it into a donut shaped reservoir, which is the same ag pipe or slotted landscape pipe that's turned into a donut and joined together, and then has a fill pipe inserted into it just through a little cut that I've made. And then I just go about filling it up as I would a normal wicking barrel. There's a layer of sand that goes up to above the overflow port, and then I put in about 10 centimeters or 4 inches of the sugarcane mulch, then a layer of soil, and I also added some nice worm castings from a worm farm that we're no longer using. The soil I've used is the soil that came out of here originally, with some added coconut fibre and also some added horse manure that's been composted a bit. That'll act as food for the worms that'll be in the barrel, and it also a lot of organic matter for the other bacteria and bits and pieces to break down and turn into plant food as well. So that's been mixed through the soil. The other bonus is too that asparagus is nematode resistant. So as it's been the only plant in this barrel, I'm fairly sure that any nematodes that were in there have pretty much all been starved out. So that'll give the eggplant a bit of protection as well, knowing there's pretty much all going to be no nematodes in there. So then I've just given it a layer of sugarcane mulch over the top of it as well. That just helps stop the evaporation of the water out of the wicking bucket. Also be a bit of food for those worms that were in the casting, so that's another bonus as well. Because the root mass is smaller and it's going to be suffering some transplant shock, what I've done is removed a whole heap of the branches. As you can see, there's really not many left on there. What I've done after I've mulched it, I've come back again and I've removed these larger leaves here and also any flowers that were open on the plant. And what that does is that alleviates, takes a lot of the pressure off the plant, because the root mass has been reduced and it doesn't have a lot of the finer moisture gathering roots on there. It won't need to feed as much because a lot of it's been taken off. All the large ones around the bottom are gone. I've pretty much all left just a couple around where the small branches are or where there's small flowers on there. So I also sprinkled some marigold, French marigold seeds over the top of the soil as well, and I've just left them there to sprout. They'll make a nice little, you know, marigold colourful hedge around it, attract the bees into this patch of the yard. It's right alongside some lavender there, so I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. So what I'm going to do is just leave it overnight, and we'll come back and we'll have a look at it tomorrow while there's full sun on it, and we'll just see what it looks like then. But I'm fairly sure that this plant here is going to go fine. I really don't think it's going to suffer much transplant shock whatsoever. Well, it's actually been a week since I planted this little lady out, so we'll have a bit of a look at her. She's looking rather good, I would think. We have a few of the leaves are looking just mildly wilty, but other than that, I mean, they're all looking nice and fine. Some of the little flowers have died off and fallen off, just the little buds there, but other than that, I think this plant's handled the transplant rather well. We've also got a couple of the marigold seeds coming up in there. Other plants I've done this to are chillies. The bell chilli that's at the back stairs up there, it's actually had the same thing happen to it. It's been transplanted twice now, from a bed to a barrel, from the barrel it was in up to the one just at the back stairs there. So I know it is possible to do. You just have to do it at the right time and treat the plant nicely when you do it. Give it a bit of a haircut, take the stress off the root system and the plant itself, and you should be right. So here in the subtropics, the only time I'd pretty much transplant a plant that was that large after giving it a haircut is from probably about mid-autumn all the way through to the start of spring. Spring here, we can have some rather hot days in the low 30s, so even then at spring it might be a little bit warm here. If you're in more temperate areas though, you could probably get away with it. If you manage to overwinter a decent sized plant, you could probably manage to do it in spring just as the new growth starts to form on the branches. You could probably get away with doing it then, and yeah, as long as they go into a nice nutrient rich position, they should be fine. They should take off no problem whatsoever. So I thought I'd just give you a look at that. You can save your plants when you have a nice good hardy plant like this udumalpet and the bell chilli we've got at the back stairs. You don't really want to get rid of them. You want to extend their life as long as you can. I've heard of some of these plants going over 5 years plus. The longest we've had them is about 3 years, so yeah, well worth keeping in my books. So that's pretty much all it, I suppose. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, just drop them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you. Other than that, I hope you all have a great one and take it easy. Cheers!